Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Contempt. In this episode we have Tim from Tim's Closet on, and we talk about his channel and making YouTube videos. Stay tuned. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
This is Contempt. I think this is episode 4. I'm playing fast and loose, so I don't really know anymore. It could come out on the 25th or the 8th of November, depending on another thing happening. So, if it comes out on the 25th, it'll be my birthday, so happy birthday to me.
Oh, happy almost birthday.
Thank you. What'd you get me? No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to the show. Who are you?
Oh, I'm Tim. I live in a closet. I'm Tim from Tim's Closet.
And what kind of stuff do you make?
I make I think I'm transitioning more into an animator now.
Animator?
Yeah. But it's I work with sprites. I got into this because I used to make videos. I started a long time ago. The very first thing I was an irate gamer parody.
Of all the things to parody.
Yeah, I know. It was I got into the little wave of it. I hate those videos now, but they're not up anymore. They are up. Somebody re-uploaded 2 of the 3 episodes I made.
Oh, that's funny that somebody found that and uploaded it.
Yeah, I can't believe... I couldn't believe when I saw they were still up somehow, because I deleted that whole thing. I find it kind of embarrassing.
Nobody likes the old content they used to make. I still don't like stuff I made a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The one thing I like to do is I like to keep up my old stuff just because it kind of shows how I started, how bad I was at the start.
How far back does your repertoire go that you have posted?
The oldest video that is online that isn't privated or unlisted is 12 years.
12 years? Damn.
Yeah, so
2010?
I started making stuff when I was 15. Halo Forge videos.
Oh, man.
I know.
What kind of videos were those? Was it just gameplay?
Yeah, I would just make a map, and then I would use Bungie's website. They had this thing where it's you get 6 minutes of footage a month or every 2 weeks, and you could use the theater function in Halo to record something, upload the clip to Bungie's website, then download it to your computer, so you didn't need a capture card.
Oh man, I remember a lot of machinima shows did that.
It was a good workaround. I mean, it was low quality, sure, but it meant anyone could do it, and I was excited. I was yeah, I'm gonna make cool little Forge maps and then post them on the Forge hub and get everyone to look at them and download them.
Did you get downloads from that?
Oh yeah, I got anywhere from 1,000 to 8,000 per video, views per video, and at least a few hundred downloads for pretty much every map I uploaded.
Oh man, I missed the community back then.
Oh, it was so great. The good old Xbox 360 days, Halo 3 and Halo Reach.
When everybody was on the game chat.
Oh, good times.
No one does game chat anymore.
Nobody. You don't get game chat anywhere.
It's pretty much non-existent, and even if they did put it, it's usually just a couple kids.
Oh yeah. Yelling, screaming in the microphone.
Making you wonder if you're playing a game that's meant for somebody of a much younger demographic.
A lot of kids playing Halo back in the day. I remember that. Kids probably shouldn't play them.
Well, they tried to make them stop back then, wasn't it? I forgot which politician stopped them, or tried to.
Oh, it was what's his name?
Hillary Clinton?
No. But yeah, so you used to make irate gamer parodies.
Oh yeah, I made 3 episodes of that. It was the first thing I did. I generally focused on angry video game nerds scripted type of content.
Right.
I do kind of regret that now. I kind of wish I was just animated, but I already kind of started in the whole live action first, and it just kind of stuck with me. Do you make live action content?
I had a series a while ago where I talked about working at places like working at Jimmy John's, Walmart, and Perkins, and live action was easy to set up if it was one of those kinds of videos where it was like a me talking at a camera with no real changes in anything. It was just one take, start to finish, camera stayed on a tripod. I didn't have to worry about nothing else. That's about all I have experience in. And making shorts and my not so great documentary.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
I interview people from this town that I live in, and we all talk about stuff that's happened in the town. We talk about the town itself, growing up in the town, and it's kind of boring. And there's a lot of things I wish I would have done a little bit better, but
Couldn't you go back and maybe just make a new one?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like maybe I'd make a sequel someday where I would just interview some new people, do the things I wish I did better.
Has anybody ever told you you sound a lot like Egoraptor?
Do I sound like Egoraptor?
I hear it in your voice a lot.
Maybe it's Discord's compression.
Maybe, but then it's also like he's also a voice actor.
Right.
So it fits kind of well, because you're also a voice actor. Man, you sound exactly like him to me.
Egoraptor.
What was your favorite Egoraptor video?
My favorite Egoraptor video was Ego Rapture, which is by Spaz Kid, so it's not really an Egoraptor video, but it's just a video where it's like, this tastes like Egoraptor.
I think I know what video you're talking about.
But if it's from, like, Aaron, I liked Metal Gear Awesome 1 and 2. I love that shit back in the day.
Oh, how he just explains the story.
Yeah, he doesn't really do much. He parodies it a little, but yeah, it's just like, it's kind of what you expect from like, what, 2007? 2006?
It's funny because the Metal Gear story is so stupid. Like, even Donkey did the same thing where you could just say the story and it looks like a joke.
Metal Gear Awesome release date, because this is going to bug me. I want to say it was mid-2000s. Yeah, 2006. God damn. I don't know. Egoraptor, I used to have a lot more respect for him, but right now, I don't know. He kind of represents a turncoat.
Well, he's getting old. I don't blame him. It gets harder when you get older to keep drawing,
animating, and
yeah. I mean, like, he still does the little animations at the beginning of the game. I would like more animation from him, but I can't blame him when he can make money still from playing video games. I can't say I wouldn't do the same thing if I had the opportunity.
Well, that's
true.
true.
I mean, I might not, but like, I don't know. I'm not in that position. I gotta see what happens if I ever get in there.
I guess the only thing I kind of regret is that we can't get any more Egoraptor from the golden years of Newgrounds.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much, like, if he comes out with another one, he'll probably come out with like one big video eventually. Just like, I don't think we'll ever get like constantly anymore.
Well, it's kind of sad when you think about it. That's the only thing that kind of irks me, is that he kind of lost his passion, and as a result, now we won't get our entertainment, which is very selfish of me to say, but I get
how you mean. I want more sequelitis.
Yeah.
That was that was a big show that inspired like how my show works. I would love more sequelitis.
Oh, good old sequelitis. He had some bad takes, but he also had some good takes, so it balanced out a bit.
I felt like I could really agree with his opinion on like the game's structure with the Zelda one, because I am more of a fan of the 2D ones.
Top down, good old fashioned.
Yeah, well, I still like the 3D ones. I agree with how he structured, like, how it wasn't great. Because I remember for a long time, Ocarina of Time, everybody called it the best game of all time. Like, it was always number one in terms of everybody's like, hey, what's the best game of all time? I felt like that discussion went for a really long time, and for a lot of people it was the number one, but I never really thought of it as number one.
I think Link to the Past is pretty good. It's probably my favorite.
That is one of the best ones. I do like the freedom you get in the first one, though. I liked... So, it's like how technically Breath of the Wild... The only game that's similar to Breath of the Wild is the NES Zelda in terms of, like, an open-world adventure. I really like that open-world type of game that you got from it.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild was really good. I mean, it's weird that it came out, like, 4 or 5 years ago. It does offer complete freedom, and I think that's why people really liked it. Hearing Egoraptor talk more about video games would be nice. In Game Grumps, he kind of switches off his brain, and he's not very articulate. He's just kind of,
I do miss JonTron. I liked when I just like the dynamic because JonTron would argue with him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm like an instigator. I really liked listening to the arguments.
Yeah.
It was fun. But like with him and Danny, I liked Danny, but like they just don't argue. And I guess I wanted the drama.
I feel like Danny's more of like a pushover. Like he sees Aaron as his boss, and he doesn't want to challenge him.
Yeah, he just gets along with him very well. And I don't know, I wanted the dynamic. I agree.
Well, yeah, aside from Egoraptor and the Game Grumps, you're saying you originally started by making parodies of Irate Gamer, but what made you want to change?
Just like the whole genre was just exiting. Like even the main guy, you know, the third-rate gamer, he was even done. I got him. Oh man, he liked a comment so he still like exists, but like it was around the time he stopped making videos is when like after I went to that, I then transitioned into making a series I called the Neutral Video Game Nerd because there was the happy and the angry at the time. And I made a couple episodes of that, and eventually it just transitioned to what I'm doing now.
So you kind of found your way by slowly morphing bit by bit.
Yeah, and well, that's exactly it. And then the thing that really I felt like added the best part to it was I stopped doing videos and I tried making a game, but that was really hard. But I liked using the elements that I had from making the game in the videos, and I feel like that's what really made me enjoy the videos I'm currently making. I didn't like any of the series until my current series that I have.
I get what you mean when it's like these skills that cross over from one area to another. It's like when you switch jobs and you find a lot of overlapping stuff you can do. But a good example is when I was making videos, I started with Halo Forge and the cinema camera, and then I learned to edit just because I kind of had to on Windows Movie Maker.
I remember that. That program is literally unusable now. They changed it. It's not like it was back then.
I'm surprised you had like export options. There was like 4 different codecs you could export in, and I'm like, you can only have one video track at a time and one audio track. What's the point?
It's I don't know if anybody even can still use that. Like,
they discontinued it. I don't think you can unless you get like a pirated copy, an archived copy.
Did they discontinue? I thought I tried using it maybe a couple years ago.
Oh, they discontinued the old one, and then they came out with an updated version that's like not technically Movie Maker. It's called something else.
Oh, that updated version might have been the thing I tried. That's an unusable pile of shit. Never suggested any. I felt embarrassed because I suggested it to my friend for a beginning video editing program, and I was so embarrassed when he showed me what it was. It's like, this is not what I first started with. I'm sorry.
Learning on that, a lot of those skills kind of transferred over to other programs. And like when I started making shorts, having made gameplay footage and videos about Halo Forge, having made those videos made it easier to make videos in real life with a real camera.
The skill set does transfer over really well.
It's always nice when you can inject some personality into a video with skills you thought you would use for something else.
That's kind of what this all is. Like, some people use their Photoshop skills. Like, video editing, you can just put it all together.
Mm. What do you use to edit?
I use Adobe Premiere, which I don't like how expensive it is.
I'm not advocating piracy.
But I like Adobe Premiere because it lets me use as many layers as I want to use. And I use a shit ton of layers sometimes, and I need Adobe Premiere to let me do the things I need it to do. I've been looking into that other one, though. I forgot what it was called.
Let's see. There's DaVinci Resolve, which is
That was it.
freeware. I think a lot of people use that just because it's very user-friendly and it's free. It's donationware.
I'm wondering if it'll, like, allow you to make really extremely complicated videos on it.
I think that's one of the edges Premiere has is just the absolute versatility.
Yeah, I might be, like, handicapped by that. Like, I can't... It's hard for me to go to other programs now.
Yeah. I mean, I edit on Vegas. Vegas Edit because I don't want to chill for the Pro. And I got a legal copy for like $20 off of the Humble bundle because they occasionally throw it out there. And
Really?
I've been using it for like 10 years. I love it.
What is New Vegas on? Is that on...
No, it's just Sony Vegas.
It's cool to, like, really master just, like, a smaller program.
The thing is, the Humble bundle will regularly put like video editing software bundles up, and it's like, it's not the newest version of Vegas, but it's old and it still works just fine, so I use it. And I would rather do that than going through the hassle of either paying for Premiere or cracking a copy, which is just a headache.
I know how you feel. I do something similar with the way I draw my sprites. I draw my sprites on a free online website called Piskel, and I refuse to move to any of the, like, better ways to draw sprites. Even though I used to use Game Maker, which is better than Piskel, I still just go to use Piskel.
Tell me more about Tim's Closet. What goes into making those videos?
I don't even really know if I can tell you the purpose of them. I just started with this, like, formula that, like, you know, the angry video game nerd type formula of a guy playing a video game, and it just built off of that, and now I don't even know what I was doing with it anymore. I'm kind of picking subjects, and I don't know if talking about the subject is the right way to say it, because I don't always even do that, or just playing the game. But it's just what I ended up, like, fusing a lot of stuff together and making it to be now. I couldn't tell you what it is anymore.
I gotta tell you, I really like this series.
Oh, thanks.
I'm glad I found it because you have 4 episodes of Tim's Closet, right? And you've got the
4. I should have a 5th one out by Halloween.
Newgrounds, Rumble, Flash, Captain Novolin, and don't tell me. Brawlhalla.
That one would be a harder one to guess.
Well, it's just I couldn't remember the name of the game. But they're actually really funny, and they get way better the more you make of them. And honestly, I enjoy them, and I'm excited for whenever the next one comes out, or what other projects you might be working on.
Oh, thanks. It means a lot. It should be on Halloween. I should have an episode about salad fingers.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's awesome.
It's a part 2 of the Newgrounds Rumble one.
Ooh. I was excited for that because you had some really, really funny jokes in the first one.
You know, I gotta tell you, that doing the Newgrounds Rumble one, that kind of put me into a corner, like, in a way. Like, I didn't know that was going to become that big of a... Because the first episode I was making was Brawlhalla, and then after that I noticed the end of Flash was coming, so I stopped working on Brawlhalla to work on the death of Flash. But that was supposed to just be about Newgrounds Rumble, and I was going to start it talking about the death of Flash. But then I showed my friend a demo of it, and he's like, these should just be 2 separate videos. And I was like, alright, this one small video that was supposed to come out later will now be 2 videos. And then the second video proved to be too big for me in terms of, like, how, like, it was too much editing, and, like, I had to cut it. And then after I cut that, I had to finish Brawlhalla because I started that and it was the first one. So like, I ended up just having this backlog of shit that I had to like keep making bigger and bigger. And now the Newgrounds Rumble thing is way bigger than I thought it was going to be, because talking about each individual thing that was in each game is taking me a lot longer than I was just thinking it'd be like a quick, like, you know, John Tron talked about like 5 things in one of his videos and that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but like it keeps getting longer.
That's the curse of being a YouTuber, really. These small project ideas spiral into massive things, and you could do like part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5 if you really wanted.
That's what it's looking like.
That way, it's not so much putting yourself in a corner. It's more like it's very freeing to release a part 1, and then now you have time for your part 2 and your part 3 and 4 and 5, and you don't have to worry about like a 20-minute start to finish video.
Do you keep time length in mind when you're making videos, or is it just like whatever it turns out?
Usually it's just whatever, because when I write the scripts, I go every page in like WordPad is like 3 minutes of narration is like no matter what. So when I get to page 6, I'm like, this might be a little bit long. And then I'll get to like page 10 and I'll be like, yeah, that's enough. I've talked about everything I want to talk about, and now I'm done. And then usually I try to cull a page or two.
You try to what, a page or two?
Cull. So like get rid of.
Oh, like cut it out.
Mm-hmm. I feel like your first draft is great. Your second draft is going to be better no matter what. And my version of the second draft is just taking out a bunch of crap that probably didn't need to be there.
Yeah, rewriting is always a big part of everything, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's so tempting not to. It's tempting to just go draft 1, done.
You know, I think that's a problem a lot of people might come by. I think you do need to rewrite it, at least from my perspective. Like, if I didn't rewrite it, I think it would look pretty bad.
You think?
I think so. I think rewriting it is what makes things better. I don't think anything... It takes a special type of, like, improvisational skill to be able to have that first take be great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a skill at least I don't have.
It's tough, and I envy those that have that skill.
I feel like a lot of, like, people streaming have to gain it.
Oh, yeah, because you don't get a second try, and you don't get to edit it later.
The idea of streaming kind of scares me, just being live.
Being live, and yeah, you have to watch what you say. You can't be too edgy.
Man, that sucks, because I have a very dark sense of humor.
You had some pretty good jokes in Tim's Closet that caught me off guard, because I assumed you were just like another parody channel at first, but then I watched it and I'm like, oh, this is original, cool. And then you had the school shooter joke and I was like, oh.
Okay, so with that, like, I've heard a lot of things on that. Like, when I showed it to my friends, he's like, are you just trying to be edgy? And I'm like, well, the game is about that. Like, I had to make jokes about it. Like,
it was hilarious. The maybe I was the school shooter all along.
I had to put a warning.
Tim's Closet, I really like the 4 episodes that are up now, especially the one that I'm in, unrelated to the fact that I'm in it.
I like that one because I like to do more of the animation in that one. Before that, I had a lot less. It was a lot more limited on the animation. It was before I changed up the sprites.
Before you changed things up.
I'm going to try to really animate a lot more often. Like, I don't know how... If I'm on screen, I want there to be, like, a reason. If I'm ever on screen, I want it to be because I'm attempting to make somebody laugh. I can't say making somebody laugh, but I'm going to at least try.
I'd say you got a good sense of humor. The whole
Thanks.
PS1 police brutality joke was hilarious.
Oh, thanks. I'm proud of that joke.
Why is the controller so sticky was hilarious.
Oh, man, I really like that. That was one I had to rewrite and throw back in.
Very creative. Every episode of Tim's Closet is very good.
It takes a lot of, like, rewrites. A lot of them. Like, The episode looked nothing like that before.
What's your process, start to finish, when you make an episode?
Very... Oh, man, it's... what's a good word for this? I cut a lot of corners. So I first make a draft, and then I, like, record that draft. But that draft is horrible. I think I have, like... I don't know what it is, if I'm, like, dyslexic or not, but, like, the way I write it down, and then if I say it after writing it down, it does not sound like a sentence that's said by regular humans. So I end up with this, like, draft that sounds just... It sounds terrible. Like, I can't believe I even, like, thought it out while writing it. And I have to redo that until, like... It's like a puzzle. And then I rewrite while I'm saying it. I've noticed that when I'm talking, I use the words and, if, but, and or at random. And then I have to re-record whole sentences just starting with those words differently. And that's a big part of the whole process. And then it goes into the animation and then Pascal. You know the PNG tuber? I think I'm a GIF tuber.
That's okay. I'm trying to imagine what your timeline must look like, and
it can look pretty... well, I think its biggest problem is I'm the most unorganized person in existence. So I've gone up to, like, 50 layers, but it wasn't, like, a necessary 50 layers. It just, like, it kept growing like a mountain. I could try to send you a picture of it, because I have a lot of them, but, like, it gets pretty... It's pretty just unorganized.
So you start with writing, rewriting, more rewriting.
And then I edit as I go. I kind of, like, make the episode, like, bit by bit. Like, I will finish the full first minute and then go to the second minute, maybe without doing some elements that I have to come back for.
Oh.
But I really do write it and edit as I go.
That, you know what? That's relatable, and I hate it.
It's the worst way to do it, isn't it?
It's like, that's what I did for Dead Rising, and I'm still not very good at doing part 2 just because I'm doing that. How I usually do it is I'll draft up a script, I'll rewrite it maybe once or twice, add some stuff. Like, I'll just be going through my day and I'll think, oh, I could talk about this too, and I'll write it down, and then I'll add it to the script, and then I record it all in one take, start to finish. 4 hours of me in a booth for Dead Rising, so that was fun. And then I put the narration on the timeline, and then I work off that. And then if I'm stuck on one part and I hate it, I'll just move to another part of the timeline.
Oh, man. And then you just have to come back to it later?
Yep. It's part of my You Should Play Naruto. I did these 2 jokes that I can name off the top of my head where it's like, that was me taking a break. Or it was like, one of them I have my PNG poof into a substitution jutsu. And that took me like 20 minutes to do, and that was me taking a break.
To animate that? Animating can be a fun, like, way to get away from the scripting.
The way I like to call it is it's like paper doll animation, where it's like I'm just taking a PNG or... Yeah, I'm just taking an object and I'm tweening it with Sony Vegas. It's not like I'm drawing things by hand or...
Is there a way to even do that while editing? I wouldn't know how to draw while over the timeline.
I think you would just have to do it frame by frame and in a different software, and then export it with your alpha channels so you can drop transparency.
It's always a different software. How many programs do you have running when you're in the editing process?
So when I'm scripting, I'll use WordPad. When I'm recording audio, it's Pro Tools. But then when I get to like the editing on Vegas, I'll have Photoshop running every once in a while. I'll throw it up just in case I want to edit together a funny image just to have for the review. And then sometimes I'll tweak things in Photoshop. I'll have to like bring it back and forth. I'll have Discord open just so I can talk to friends. Sometimes it gets distracting, but whatever. But yeah, usually it's just those two softwares, Photoshop and Vegas.
You named a lot more than 2 softwares.
Photoshop, Vegas, Pro Tools, and WordPad are what I use start to finish. And then sometimes Audacity and Pro Tools are interchangeable.
Can you record directly onto your editing software?
Yes. I just choose not to. Well, I'd say it's worrying. I'm afraid I'll lose it, or I'm afraid I just won't be able to tune it the way I want to tune it that I could in like Pro Tools, where I can add de-essing and shit. It's weird because Vegas has these tools. It's just they're easier to use in like Pro Tools and slightly less easy in Audacity.
I can tell you from experience of recording it on the timeline, you will lose the files. I don't know how. They're there, but you will lose them. They're not labeled. You will just lose them, though.
Yeah, that's another thing. Organizing shit. I'm just like, I like to be able to save the file and have that save somewhere on my computer.
That is. I just re-record it now. I'll record the same thing several times because I have no idea where it ended up.
I can't imagine jumping between recording and editing more than a few times. Like, there have been times where I've had to record something in like a correction where I'd be like, oh, actually this happened instead. But
oh man, I go back to it so often. I have to, at the end of every day, record new lines based on what I edited that day. It's a daily, like, 5 to 10 minute thing a day.
Oh, stop it.
I have that one recording session that's like 2 hours or so.
Yeah.
And then I build upon that. Very rarely I'd say a good maybe 20% of that first draft will even be in the final draft. And then I just re-record a little more every day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's not the ideal. I'm just not very organized.
That's fair. I think I'm similar. I'm not that organized either. But I try my best to keep each stage of this process separate. First I script, then when I'm completely done with scripting, then I move on. And then I move to the next and the next.
Oh, I build all that all constantly at the same time. I label it as like percentages. I'll put scripted, then I'll put a percentage next to it. I'll put finished. I have a whole bunch of Word documents all just being worked on with different ideas. All like different percentages of the way done.
How many projects do you like usually have going on in the background at one time?
Too many. A lot of them I'm probably not thinking of, and like I'm trying to start like a just fully animated show with me and then 2 of my friends animated into it. I wanted to do it to where like I wanted to call it Timland, where I ran an arcade. It was going to be a really shitty arcade in the middle of nowhere, and the only other building is right next door, and it's a much better arcade. And that was the concept was the arcade was going to be a very well-run place. It was kind of like Always Sunny. My character's the bad guy. Then the good guy is the one that runs the good arcade, and my character just tries to steal and take everything from them. And that was going to be the premise.
Well, that sounds interesting.
It's hard to get all that, like, started, though.
So you're saying that's more like short-form content?
Yeah, it would be like a 3 to 5 minute episodes.
How many Tim's Closet episodes do you have cooking on the stove right now?
So the Newgrounds Rumble thing, I've decided once I'm fully done, I'm going to spread that out, and the last episode of the first season is going to be the ending of the Newgrounds Rumble. Because that's just the size of that project now.
Mm-hmm. You kind of fucked up by going into the detail of every fighter.
Well, it was like, at first I was like, there's not much to talk about. Like, I need to find something. Because have you tried talking about Newgrounds Rumble? Like, it's like got the story and it's like a little Smash clone. Really, I could have made it a nice, quick, like, 4 to 8 minute video, and that should have been the end of it. But no, I just didn't know what I was thinking at the time. Now, I was going to make that the full first season. And I've decided if Tim's Closet doesn't take off overall, I'm going to, maybe after the first season, slow it down dramatically and just make a bunch of animated shorts where my character does other things. Like, the thing I had you voice act for, I was just going to put him in different jobs.
Yeah.
And then just see what I could write. Like, Tim's Classroom was where he would be a teacher is one I wrote that you voice acted for, and then Detective Agency. And then, like, maybe one of those will have more than one episode, but, like, I was just kind of throw them into different situations and see what funny situations I could write.
For Newgrounds Rumble, I really do enjoy that you do go into detail of every character. It adds versatility, because you can talk about pretty much anything with these characters, but short form content is extremely tempting over long form content. It's less work.
More episodes can be pumped out.
Mm-hmm. But I personally, I like long form shit. I love Matthew Mitosis, Joseph Anderson, long essay type.
Like Internet Historian?
Yeah, Internet Historian especially. I love both of his channels.
And he's really funny. I just discovered him, like, pretty recently. I'm really into him right now.
He's pretty good. He just came out with that whole video.
I've seen it like 3 times.
It's really good.
It was really good. I like his storytelling. His animation is funny.
Yeah, his creepypasta and all that. The readings.
Oh, Sundance Rejects?
Oh, yeah, that Sonic in high school.
Oh, man. He also made one about, like, the pirates and, like, a heist. Man, his animation is, like... I want to see what his timeline looks like. I'm sure that looks like madness and hell.
He said way back when, this was on, like, I want to say 2018, 4 years ago. He was talking about, yeah, my timelines just look like garbage. I just don't know how to do anything like, not concisely, but like compactly. So he just has like hundreds of layers.
Hundreds, damn! I've never even made it to 100 yet. Man, I want to see his timeline so badly. He's never like posted a picture of it, but I'm gonna be waiting.
I don't know, I'd like to see more Tim's Closet. What besides Newgrounds Rumble? What other games were you thinking of?
So I was planning on like a video about stick fights. I wanted to do the evolution of that, like how it started with how I remember when before it was stick fighting, it was like stick death, and it was all just about gore, and eventually that kind of faded away into now it's just about stick fights. I was gonna talk about that while talking about the game Stick Fight. Oddly enough, you know the game Stick Fight?
It sounds familiar.
It's a very mindless button mashy game about sticks fighting. I have 130 hours in that game for some reason. I have no idea how I got that many hours to accumulate, but I have that many hours in that game, so I figured that would be a good base for talking about history of sticks.
God damn. Yeah, the whole stick animation craze of the late 2000s was interesting to be, to watch.
I still think that the fights sometimes for stick animation look better than most things anime and Hollywood can do, like choreography wise.
Right.
I don't like how an anime like cuts. There's too many angles, but then stick fights, I like that like you could see it all. I feel like they were able to do a lot. I'm a huge fan of stick fighting.
And I think it works best just because it's boiling down animation of a physical, like a humanoid creature, to its most basic form. So it's a lot easier to convey.
So they can, it makes it so they can get away with so much animation.
Yeah. And when really it's just like a lot of bones. I'm sure nowadays you can just use bone animation.
What's bone animation?
It's got a real name. I completely forget. It's like Adobe's proprietary thing where you can stick pins at certain key points of a body and then use that as...
Oh, I think I heard Ellen Becker talk about that once.
You just like, you put pins in, then you animate the muscles, the bones that you made with those pins. But there is a name for it. I'm blanking. Puppeteering, maybe?
Huh, I wonder if I can add like my own sprites to that type of animation.
You might be able to, but it might look a little weird just because it doesn't mesh well with pixels. I suppose you could get away with a lot, though. Maybe. Either way, I've noticed you like Flash games and the Flash era.
I did grow up on them a lot. Like it was a real. I grew up without money, but we had a computer, and so I spent a lot of my video game time on that computer. So I'd probably end up talking about like games that were easy to emulate at the time, like Super Nintendo or like anything pixelated, and Flash games, as that was a big part of my gaming childhood, and downloadable games.
Back in the day when you didn't need a graphics card to run these games, it was all CPU powered. I also played a lot of Flash games, especially in school when I wasn't supposed to be playing them.
I remember doing that. I loved that they weren't blocked on that many of the computers.
Yeah, because there were too many websites to block. They didn't. Every time one went down, another would pop up.
And it was really easy to install Adobe Flash after they uninstalled it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I miss Flash.
The good old years.
Man, I used Flash at work all the way up till it died. So it was actually something that, like, it did affect me. I was still playing Flash games at work. What else can I play at work? I can't bring in, like, a console. They're going to see it.
Yeah. So, well, the only way to play these old Flash games on a browser is Newgrounds.
I couldn't download that on my work computer, the player.
Oh, rip.
Yeah. That's why I couldn't play it anymore.
Flash animation and Flash gaming was such a monumental part of the internet's culture in the mid to late 2000s that it's kind of a shame to watch it disappear like that so casually.
Yeah, it's just gone. A lot of these games are just gone forever.
Yeah, like you said, they were releasing stuff on Steam, right? Packaged.
A couple things, yeah. Only the bigger companies like X, but then even like they didn't fully go through with it. And some of the companies, I guess, I don't like what XGen Studios is doing. I like some of their games, but they're still charging way too much for what the games are.
Right. Charging money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Like $20 for a fucking stick RPG. I'm not paying that.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous. At least we still have Newgrounds.
Yeah, Newgrounds is still good. I like it for, I feel like Newgrounds should be on a good rise. I like it as an alternative to YouTube.
I do enjoy the community, but only because right now it's a lot more compact than it used to be. It's a lot easier to get front pages, and everyone knows each other.
Did Newgrounds make a rise recently, like a little before I started coming back? Like a little before the death of Flash. Did Newgrounds rise up in popularity before that? It felt like it was dead before for like a couple years. But when I jumped back in, it seems lively.
Yeah, I mean, the community's kind of going... The people that are still there are really excited to be a part of Newgrounds and the community and share their work with other people. And I feel like more people are starting to hop back on. There was the good old Ego Raptor days, good old Oni, good old Psychic Pebbles, Spaz Kid, Stamper, Rice Pirate. That was the golden era. And now there was a massive fall off for 5 years, and then there was a slight resurgence with the Tumblr porn ban, where people just started going to Newgrounds to post their art, and they were like, yeah, it's perfect.
That probably would rise up Newgrounds. I forgot about that.
And then after that, it kind of kept steady, and now people are going back to it just because nostalgia, and it's like rediscovering Newgrounds as a community in your mid-20s, late 20s, or 30s or 40s or whatever. But these kids that grew up on Oni and shit, now they want to make animations, they want to make music or games, and Newgrounds is just the place for it, really.
Hey, anybody can go on there. What is the oldest and most obscure series that you can recall on the top of your head? On Newgrounds. Something on Newgrounds.
There was this one game, and I remember nothing about it, except that I think it was like a Flash fighting game. But it had one of the Naruto anime songs as one of the backing tracks you could choose, and that's all I remember about it.
I remember when we used to have those type of, like... There's a lot of public music on these old Flash games. It was the first time I ever heard Offspring was on a Flash game.
Oh, that's so 2000s. Newgrounds, there's a lot of obscure stuff.
A lot of stuff that didn't age well.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly in your video where you were like, this was made by people who wanted to make outrageous stuff because they weren't allowed to make it anywhere else.
Yeah, like everybody wanted to draw these characters dying.
Everyone.
Because, we couldn't see it on TV. The one I always think of, I don't know why, every now and then I think of it, is like, Magus from Super Mario Bros. Or no, Magus from Chrono Trigger. There was a series called Magus Bros. Where it was Mario teaching Magus from Chrono Trigger how to be a hero, I think. There were 3 episodes. And I think about it every now and then. He would put Magus in like a frog suit and he hated it or something. You don't get that kind of stuff anymore. Remember the like blooper videos of just like video game characters getting hurt?
Yeah.
I used to be all about that shit.
I think Newgrounds is a great, like right now, it's a great place for animators to do their thing and post their portfolios, basically.
It really is. I can't think of a better like social media for artists.
Yeah, because everything's easily viewable, categorizable, and maybe not searchable with their search bar, but you go to a creator's profile and you can just look at all their crap.
You can see everything they've done. That's how I found you. That's a great way to find people.
Yeah, the project system is awesome because now you can be like, oh yeah, these 5 people worked on it. The follow button is right next to their names, so you can just click that if you're interested.
Oh, I even met some guy found me on there. I'm drawing the art for a game somebody is making right now. I haven't been able to draw as much as I've been wanting to, so I feel like I'm falling behind in the project where he keeps moving forward. I'm starting to feel kind of bad, but like I'm falling behind on too many projects.
Yeah. You got to realize that art and making drawings, animation, backgrounds, all of that takes a lot longer than like writing or voicing anything. So, I mean, don't beat yourself up too much about being a bit slow.
I feel like I want to be able to make the amount of art for the amount he's edited or the amount he's programmed. I can't help but feel guilty literally all the time, no matter what time of day it is, that like I'm not making content currently. Do you ever feel like that type of guilt?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say a lot of people feel that guilt, especially people who try to make YouTube videos consistently. It's just really hard, and you see these people, these really popular YouTubers do it very consistently, and it just makes me feel guilty that I can't be that consistent.
I really try to look at like Internet Historian as like he waits like 8 months, maybe makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Mitosis went like 1.5 years without releasing a video, and then he just released one out of nowhere, and it was like, oh, cool.
Damn, does he make revenue off his videos? If so, how did he manage that?
Matthew Mitosis does long-form video essays, and he's really good at articulating himself and explaining why game mechanics work and why games are good or bad. And because of this, he made a bunch of videos at the start, and he monetized them all, and I'm sure he's been coasting off that for a long time, and he just pops one up every once in a while for more revenue. Although, it's kind of, I don't know if he does it for the money, but I'm sure everyone has to have a little bit of money.
Yeah, we literally can't survive without it. I would really like to make money from my videos, but it's just not in the cards at the moment.
Even I've been doing this for 12 years as a hobby, and I'm only at 500 subscribers. I used to be in the partnership program back when it was a lot easier to be a part of with my Halo videos. But then I got kicked out. They didn't grandfather me into the new revenue sharing system.
Are you getting eaten up by the algorithm?
Mm-hmm. It didn't help that I unlisted a bunch of my videos, which is a big no-no if it's more than like 5 videos.
I did that.
It'll stunt you.
Wait, really? I have all of my older videos are all unlisted or privated.
Same. I did the same thing. And if you did it when they redid the partnership program, I'm pretty sure that's when the algorithm changed. It happened to Darkside Phil, where he unlisted a bunch of his videos, and so YouTube was like, oh, these views are now gone, and he must not be important. So the more views those videos had, the more harmful it is to unlist.
Oh, I think I'm in the clear. I had 8 subscribers and like a couple hundred views overall.
You're probably
not
fine.
Losing anything.
I got a buddy who makes videos, and he's just soaring right now. And I'm like, oh, it's great that he's doing better than me, but I'm super jealous.
As long as you're having fun. I think that it depends on the reason you're doing this. Like some people, like if you're doing this for the money, that's like money on entertainment. I think that's a good reason to do it. It's a good way to make money. And if you're doing this for like the fame, that's also like, you know, we're all humans and we all want that. Well, I think that's like, that's all there. I think what keeps me wanting to do it is the adventure of it. Like when you make a video and you see yourself on there, doesn't it feel like you went on an adventure? Like you see yourself adventuring when you rewatch your own video. I feel like that's a really good reason to, or at least that's my reason for wanting to do it. And it keeps me from being too jealous of people that have a lot of views.
That's a good way to put it. The adventure of it instead of like...
There is still like the urge of like, I would like money, or like, there's still a small amount of me that wants money and fame, but like the bigger part is like, I just want to see myself go on these adventures.
Oh, totally. You can't be blamed. Everyone wants to make money off YouTube. It's very tempting, and people see the numbers of like the famous YouTubers where they make a lot of money, and it's like, ooh, I wish I could do that.
Like Markiplier,
H3H3, Filthy Frank in his heyday.
I feel kind of bad for how the angry video game nerd is treated right now.
Yeah, I mean he was a big part of early YouTube culture, well, mid YouTube culture. But
I feel like he should be bigger, but like he's just not.
Entertainment is the entertainment industry is just very short and fast. Your career goes about as long as you can be entertaining, and then you're out forever, gone.
Well, I mean, like you can make comebacks, but like the longer you're out, the harder the comeback's going to be.
Oh yeah, I mean, for Angry Video Game Nerd, he's been consistent, but he's no longer the main producer of his own channel. He's working for other people.
And he also has his family. It probably takes a lot of energy to do it. Well, I would really like the 2 episodes a month thing, and I don't think he has the energy to keep doing that kind of thing.
Then you see people like Scott the Woz, who every 2 weeks...
Dude, holy shit, dude. He makes so much content.
How the fuck does he do it?
I think I'm willing to say he's got the energy and the ideas at the same time. You need both of those, and he has had them coming out. It doesn't look like he's had anything stopping him.
It's insane how consistent he's been, and I wonder what the process is, because he's doing live action footage for the majority of his reviews.
He's got funny friends, too.
Yeah, every time the cameos for Mario Party, they're all very funny.
I really like that mustache guy.
His therapist.
Yeah.
Or
funny.
The other guy who's... Every joke about Gex. Oh, it's just really good.
Oh, I loved that. I love the ending of that joke where he's like, "What the hell is this?"
Oh, Scott the Woz is someone I aspire to be, but can never be because, geez, I'm not that youthful and energetic anymore.
Yeah, I've realized a little while ago I cannot do that type of shit. If I make, I've learned if I make something, I have to make sure that it's going to be the only thing you're getting for a while from me.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like pumping out movies, like anime cutscenes. I don't know how he's doing that.
Scott the Woz, jeez. Oh, he must be rolling in dough right now.
It looks like he has a new place to film. He's doing the Noble thing. I've not heard him advertise one thing. Mm-hmm. But he is ad friendly. I think he's able to monetize it. How much can you make by just monetizing?
H3H3. There was this clip from a podcast. I personally don't watch it, but there was a clip where he exposed another creator's salary basically, and it was like made $8,000 off of a million view video or whatever.
Is that the average?
I have no idea. It does vary person to person, because it's your click-through rate or whatever, watch time and all that. It's all calculated differently per person. My buddy Aiden made like $700. I think it was $700 off of his Pokemon videos, and that was only like I'm gonna look right now.
700 is pretty good.
That's enough to buy everything I'm using right now to record.
I think I spent like $300 on the things you recommended. It didn't come with a little stand. I have it just sitting here on a table. Is that match? I have not said that.
2 things I forgot to tell you was buy headphones for the interface and buy a stand.
I'm using earbuds that I plugged in to the computer through the headphone jack, and the mic is just on the table. It's not like ideal. I haven't replaced the mic I've been using for my recent episode. I don't want to replace it yet because I haven't completely finished the episode yet.
Yeah, you don't want that jarring.
Yeah, I need it to sound the same, even though it's a worse mic and it's really on its last thread. Like, I have to do something perfectly to make it work. I need to finish the episode with that mic because it's still less work than doing all of the audio for the entire episode.
And that's the way you should do it, because you don't want to re-record everything. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I just need to finish that, then I can throw that mic in the trash. I'm done with it.
What's your old mic?
I don't even know. My friend, I had a friend who came over one day and he left his mic here, and he wouldn't accept it back. So I ended up just buying him a new mic, and I kept his old one. No idea what quality it was. It just happened to be better than my Snowball, so I've been using that when I record. It's currently hanging up in my closet. That's why I'm not recording in my closet right now, because I didn't want to move that mic.
I'm sure you're going to love the Rode. I love... Personally, I still use that for pretty much everything. I've got a Shure SM7B just because, you know, I was feeling like spending money one time, and I'm like, yeah, a $400 microphone, why not?
Well, you're a voice actor. That's a good thing to spend money on.
It's great for podcasts. Literally every podcast uses this microphone, so I'm part of the club.
It's also good for voice acting, right?
Yeah. There's 2 types of mics, like I told you, dynamic and condenser. The condenser sounds best for voice work. The dynamic sounds best for like radio work, and when you want a particular kind of thing, you'll use one or the other. So it's just good to have that versatility. I got my dynamic mic, which is great, and I got my condenser mic, which is awesome.
I need more mics. I work with a very low budget.
Now you're gonna want more mics. You're just gonna want to experiment with mics. I got a $10 PA mic that I found at like my local music store was just selling used equipment, and they're like, yeah, we got this mic from wherever, it's $10. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it, why not? And it's got this really unique sound, so I'm excited to use that for like a music song or something in the future.
Oh, I think I heard one of your songs. I liked it.
It's a hobby. I'm getting better.
I like I think it was a rap song that I actually really liked.
I've got two EPs out right now, and I'm working on the 3rd.
I was trying to remember if it was you or a Johnny guy. I'm pretty sure both of you came out with rap, actually.
I think, yeah, Johnny Guy's he makes music, so he's got a lot of stuff on his profile.
Johnny Guy's an OG. I still felt,
kind of wish I had made my Newgrounds account even earlier than I did.
You know, on that, I had a very old Newgrounds account, like a really old one that I thought was gone. So I made a new one for my recent show that I made.
Yeah.
And then I found out I had access to my old one, and I've been regretful that I didn't just use that one ever since. I could have had it say like from 2005.
You could theoretically just transfer all your projects to that old profile with the project system.
I can't do that now because the first video I made, it got on the front page, and I'm very proud of that.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
It got me a lot of my first initial views. It was I'm the single most proud of anything in my life so far. I don't know if that's good or bad.
The alternative is you could just add your old profile to your movies and stuff through the project system.
Well, I'm just gonna use the new channel. It's I'm not doing enough of a benefit. That account was so old it didn't even remember any of like my old achievements.
Oof.
It was pretty old. And I mean, like, what would the achievements have been? Like, I think Newgrounds Rumble was one of the bigger ones that I even played at the time.
Oh.
It's a really old account.
You can show you're an OG. Mine's from July 21st, 2011 is when I made an account. But I was around before then for, of course, Egoraptor and Oni and...
You just didn't have an account yet.
Mm-hmm. And now I have an account.
I remember Newgrounds from like 99 era. It was a way different time. A lot of crazy. It was like the place for like all the offensive stuff. Do you remember Game Hippo?
No.
Oh no, it's also like 90s PC stuff.
I mean, it's kind of weird. I'm not really part of either era of the original creation up until the Egoraptor and Oni era, up until the downfall of everything, back to the Tumblr exile, and then between Tumblr and Oni there wasn't much happening, and that's when I created my account. It was for Gregzilla. I had found him through his Game Grumps animations, and then I followed him, and then he was trying to work on a pilot, and he wanted voice actors, and little 18-year-old me, or whatever, 2011, little 16-year-old me, was like, I can voice act. So I grabbed a Rock Band microphone, and I uploaded
Of all the things.
6-minute video of me making bad impressions of voice characters, and that's still on my profile. You could still listen to it.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to listen to that after that. You're gonna have to link that one.
I don't have the guts to listen to it again. I just cringed so hard.
I know how you feel, but at least you have it posted, which means you're okay with it existing.
That's it. It's so tempting to PM Tom Fulp and be like, look, I'm really embarrassed of this. Can you take it down? But I like to keep it up as a reminder that it was my starting point. That's what I was like when I was bad at everything, and eventually I got okay and decent, and you can too, viewer, hypothetical listener. It just shows that even someone you might perceive as being good at what they do had that rough patch when they first started out, and it's relatable, and it can provide inspiration to these people who are also just starting out now, who want to be as good as like these musicians and these animators and these programmers.
As much as I want to agree, I'm still too nervous to unprivate a lot of my videos.
How many are privated? Do you have like a lot?
I'd say like maybe 10.
It's a decent amount.
But that's like a guess. I also don't want it to be like, I want, if you go onto my channel, everything to be like a consistent type of thing. Yeah, because then like I wouldn't want somebody to have to look for the better videos. Like I want it separated to where like they can easily find the stuff they came there for.
But that's an easy trap to fall into, because I mean, sometimes, people want to see everything that you've produced, good, bad, middling. They want to see everything.
At that point, when do you make a second channel?
About the same time Internet Historian did.
Yeah, he did. He's a good example of that.
He's like, yeah, I'll make a video a year, and then I'll make 10 videos on the second channel that are way less effort, but in a good way.
I could see how it's like, editing-wise, it looks like it still has a lot of the same stuff, but the scripting is really that big of a deal because it takes up that much time.
Mm-hmm. It's insane to think that Internet Historian kept saying for the longest time, I'm just going to make shorter videos because I'm sick of making these 2-hour videos about nothing. And
I loved hearing him say that at the end of the video.
3 years later, here we are with another hour-long Internet Historian video.
It's pretty good, though.
It is good. I love him.
I kind of just hope he does this continuously. Like, I'd rather he just make the hour-long
once-a-year videos.
Like, yeah, I'm okay with it. He has enough of a backlog.
Yeah, he's been making videos for, 5 years?
I am disappointed that I've already rewatched all of his content too many times, so I can't continue to watch him until he makes new videos.
That's the
worst.
worst.
I hate when you get to that part.
Yeah. The same thing happened when I found this guy called Ray Shivik. Ray Shivik does, Mass Effect 15 years later, and, Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit 8 years later, and all these games and retrospectives. I think I've seen the
thumbnails for those.
And they're really well-made videos. He's great at what he does, and good for him. But I found his videos, and then I watched every single one in like 3 days, and now I have nothing.
And now you're all done. I think having a backlog is something everybody needs. So at least that he was able to entertain you for a couple days.
It sucks that you really you find these people that you connect with on like you love their content and what they create, and then you get to the end of the catalog and it's like, oop, next video in 2 months, and it's going to be 20 minutes long, and that'll have to tide you over for another 2 months after that.
At least they're 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a decent chunk of change. That's about what television programs are.
Yeah.
If only we put as much money into internet videos as we do television, but then saying that aloud, I realize we kind of already do.
It's just less control. The money doesn't come from Pepsi, so not everybody's going to be drinking Pepsi.
Yeah. It's kind of nice to have that independent creator mentality.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like... It is definitely a lot better, and you can see more of what the creator wanted to make, unlike with movies where, like, somebody's always influencing decisions, whether it's investors or something.
Yeah, they say you got to have a Pepsi can in this scene, or test audiences didn't like the ending, so you got to change it.
It's like, but that's the ending. The good guys die. It's supposed to be meaningful. It's like, yeah, but they wanted them to live. And then could these characters get together at the end?
And then you got Scott the Woz making jokes about Gex and Pokemon and being
things
a virgin.
He wanted to do. Being a virgin.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Another great thing about YouTube is the fact that there's millions of creators out there doing their thing, and if you dig hard enough, you'll find hundreds of people that you love to watch, and that's more than enough to keep you going day to day.
Yeah, you just gotta find them.
Or you cheat and you subscribe to content creators' Let's Play channels just so you can have them on in the background every day.
I used to do that, but it got kind of hard to... I kept wanting to get the new people. Let's Play channels are always hard for me to completely submerge into. I have a couple that I do watch, though.
It's the new podcast, really. Like, Oni stopped animating. He started making his game. And then he's like... Well, he stopped animating. He started his Let's Play channel. And then he started making a game. And now here we are. And it's basically just a podcast where they shoot the shit. And they talk about whatever they want to talk about.
What is a Let's Play other than a podcast while they're doing something at the same time?
You can thank, what's his face? The kid with the bad haircut and no chin. Leafy. You can thank Leafy for making Let's Plays popular. He did CSGO knife gameplay footage while he talked about subjects. And the combination is what sparked the Let's Play era.
I think I heard of that.
That's so crazy. I don't know. Any subjects you wanted to talk about?
Let's talk about your channel.
Oh, God.
What's Hellion gonna be like?
Oh, Hellion. I'm currently producing an animation. I'm paying people to make an animation for me. And it's about these two people that hunt demons, and that's about it. And I haven't said who's working on it yet, but we've got this one animator who I loved his projects, and I was like, hey, do you want to help me out? And he's like, well, yeah.
Man, what's the process of that even like?
I had to gather a crew, essentially. Me and the creator, we wrote the whole season. And I'm like, hey, do you want to make a pilot? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so I'm like, okay, we need animator, background artist, voice actors, and we'll have that crew.
What are you putting it together on? Like, what's the program it's going into at the end?
I took the storyboards and I put them in Vegas to try and time out scenes, and then I'm gonna use Vegas to add sound effects and Foley and all that, and oh, it's gonna be so much fun. I'm not looking forward to it because I love doing it, but it's also tedious as hell.
Yeah, that explains editing pretty well.
Oh yeah, I can never do it for more than 2 hours at a time. It's just too much.
What's that thing they said where the pros and cons of making things? The pro is thing and the con is make.
That's a good way to put it. I feel like anyone could relate to that.
I don't want to make it, but I want the thing that I would have made had I put the effort. Do you know Yahtzee?
Yeah, zero punctuation.
Yeah, he actually gave me a piece of advice that is the reason I was able to make my videos. And it was like, during his Dev Diary series, he said like, no matter what, do one thing a day. Whether it's draw one line of code or like, in this case, edit one clip, draw one sprite, do one thing a day. And that's all you need to do. And I felt like that was a really good way to keep me in it, because it was always really easy to quit before.
Yeah. Take this big thing, chop it up into little tiny steps.
It works for the lack of energy.
Do that one thing a day is the best advice for any creator out there. You know, take these big projects, break them down into small projects, and then break those small projects into even smaller projects, and then boom, knock them out one by one.
And eventually it'll all be done, and you'll have to do it again right after.
I remember watching Dev Diary as well. I think that was when he was making the Battle Royale game. He was talking about that.
What? Oh, you remember the exact episode he said that thing in? I've been trying to find it.
I think it was the Battle Royale one. I think it's the 3rd episode, I think.
Oh, that's amazing.
But he said that, and that's great. And the great way to transfer that to editors is do 1 minute of editing on a timeline a day.
Oh man, no, for me, that's like, no, 1 minute for like a minute of animation is like, that's gonna take me like 2 days. I've done like a whole day, 5 seconds, and it's like, all right, cool, come back tomorrow.
You're saying it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it can take a lot of fucking time to get a whole minute. If I could do a minute in a day, I'd have more. Although it depends on the content. You know that I made like a music video thing?
Yeah.
That only took me 3 days to make.
Man, it's so much work. But it does show. Like, Tim's Closet has very high production value, as do your shorts, like Popeye
thanks.
And the one song.
Yeah, it's a song that gets tired. I don't like the song anymore after the 3 days of editing
it. Do you still like the sound of your own voice after editing for hundreds of days?
Well, if you've noticed, I don't sound the way I do in my videos. I definitely do not like the sound of my own voice. I only do that voice because, like, it's a funny story how that voice started. When I was at work, I had this, like, we have this thing called a mid-year review, and I had no idea what to put for that, because it's like, what am I doing? And I had a friend who worked there with me, and he was like, hold on, let me just do it. And he put in the mid-year review, put public speaking classes. And I was like, what are you putting that for? I'm not taking fucking public speaking classes. He's like, don't worry, nobody's going to look into it. And this was at a time where I kind of worked alone. But then when the pandemic hit, I had to start working with my team a lot. During that, they had me speak during a thing. And I was worried because I was like, oh fuck, it says I did public speaking classes. I don't know what to do. And like, so then I just decided to read my whole part like this, where I just did the dynamic voice. And I think it sounded terrible, but like, after I said it, one of the people was like, huh, I didn't know that we had a radio host here. And he said my name after. And I was like, huh, maybe it didn't sound as bad as I thought I did. Because I was regretful the whole time I was saying it. And then I decided to try to use it in making videos, where I thought it sounded pretty bad at first. I feel like I enhanced it to where it sounded a little better. I still don't think I hate the sound of even that voice. But I think I made it sound a little better through time.
It's very pleasant on the ears. It's not grating.
I was going for like a show host kind of.
I think it's part of the character you're playing, really, and it fits very well. But that is funny. You got called out on your public speaking.
I didn't even want to do that. That was my friend who put that in the fucking. I didn't even want to be in that situation.
Oh, amazing.
My closet show is just like an accumulation of a bunch of shit that failed.
It's an interesting way to put it.
My failed game design, failed videos I made, failed irate gamer parody.
And honestly, you know, that's an okay message, because we got something really cool out of all this quote failure.
I hope so. I still think it could be a little better though.
Oh, the more you do it, the easier it gets. You should know this by now.
Yeah. Or unless you know, it's kind of the more I do it, the harder it gets, because I keep adding more like complicated shit to it. I didn't know I was gonna like try to be an animator at the beginning of this, but now I am trying to be an animator over like a filmmaker. So for me, it definitely got more complicated.
You got to learn to keep things short.
I should, but I think I'm leaning more in. It's getting longer as time goes on. My current one's I think at 14 minutes.
14 minutes. It's amazing to think that is a lot of work. Fucking when I made Dead Rising Part 1, I was planning to release it all as one thing, but then when I got to the end of Part 1, I looked at the script and I was only 20 pages in out of 90. And I was like, I don't know if I can finish this 5-hour Dead Rising video.
Out of 90 pages? That's a lot of pages. That's a shit ton of pages, man. I don't even know how you got 20 pages in.
There's a lot I could cut out, and I'm going to as I record it next. But yeah, I really went above and beyond with my stupid idea to make this my longest video ever.
The longest video can make you that could be your breakout video.
It could. I mean, once Part 2 comes out in 5 years from now. The thing is, I made the You Should Play Super Punch Out to tide me over between parts of Dead Rising. It was originally going to come out just before I released the full Dead Rising thing, but then I finished it and I looked at my Dead Rising timeline and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to finish this in a month.
Oh man, a month is generous for that long of a video.
I can't even tell you how many hours I put into it just as it was. I barely did any editing for that.
I would believe over 100 hours.
Another thing is, always look into your editing software. You gotta look up tutorials whenever you possibly can, because it might save you hours of bull crap.
I like to, if I hit a roadblock, just look up how to do that exact thing. And then that's like a level up I've earned, where it's like, I leveled up and added a stat to what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like looking up how to do slow motion in After Effects.
And then you can end up doing it again, and you'll probably do it a lot because you just learned how to do it, so your next video is going to have a lot of it.
Mm-hmm, and it influences you a bit.
I have a lot of stuff like that where you just learn a trick and it just takes over.
We went over the channel, who you are, what you do, what you make, what your inspirations, plans for future videos, Ego Raptor at some point. Were there any other topics you would like to talk about as a creator, as a creative person who's trying to form his channel and make something?
Alright, if you're on a date,
yeah,
you are required to eat one of these things in front of your date.
Yeah.
It's either a bowl of water and you have to eat it with a spoon, or a plate with some pudding on it that you have to eat with a straw.
Ooh, that is a tough one. What do you pick?
Oh man, probably the water. I'll just say it's tea. But then you do have to pull out the, adding on to it, you have to pull out either a snack pack and pour it on the plate, or in the water, a bottle of water, and you have to pour it into the bowl. I will still try to tell her it's tea, but like, it won't be convincing after I pour the bottle of water.
I'd say the bowl, just because it's like eating soup, except, you know, it's just water.
But you wouldn't enjoy it as much as you'd enjoy the pudding.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, if it's just a bowl of tasteless water, it's not much you can do with that. Whereas the pudding, at least, you know, you're getting pudding, it tastes good.
Yeah, pudding is good.
That's fucking delicious. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Man, I really hope I have at least 100 more subscribers.
Don't get too discouraged, because a lot of channels blow up out of nowhere for no reason at all. Like Picaspri, who had like 500 subscribers and then a week later had 100,000 subscribers.
Holy shit.
Yeah. What's your favorite video on your channel?
Personally, I like my Newgrounds Rumble one. I feel like that one had the best humor.
It was very funny.
Yeah, I think that one's my... I don't think I'm going to do better than that one, honestly, but I'm going to try. But I like how I paced that one. I think I rushed the ending a little too much, though, and I kind of wish I didn't. I wish I put more time into talking about the samurai game. Or I wish I themed it a little better. Like, I could have done... I noticed late, I almost only did all of Tom Fulp's games. I could have made that episode about Tom Fulp's games. I was pretty close, except for like Alien Hominid wasn't a Tom Fulp game, it was Dan Paladin. I almost wish I themed it a little better like that. Because now I have a full episode about Madness 2008 planned. Because it says in the thing, Madness 2008, so I'm going to have to review every video that was in that year. And that's a whole video.
Madness, one of the characters is in Newgrounds Rumble.
Yeah, and the thing mentioned for him, it says Madness Day 2008. Specifically that one. So I have to watch every video in Madness Day 2008 for him.
You should just make that its own video.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be like 4 to 5 parts.
You should try talking to Crinkles.
I do try to reach out. Some of them do respond. It's crazy when I get responses back. Like, man, my mind was blown when Mind Chamber commented on my video once, and that was fucking mind blowing. And then Tom Fulp is amazing, man. I can't say enough good things about him. He responds to messages that I send him if it's like about a video or something. He's really good about that stuff.
He's super nice. I've interacted with him a few times via private message, and he's always been super kind.
He really is. I think more people that run stuff should be like Tom Fulp.
Yes.
I'm still shocked he responded to me the amount of times he has.
What's one lesson your job has taught you that you think everyone else should learn at some point in their life?
Don't pour mustard on the wall for a joke, because that shit does not come off. It stains like a motherfucker.
I saw the first part of that joke and I cringed. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I didn't realize, because that was the very first joke I technically wrote into the series. And when I went back to re-edit it, I changed a lot of stuff, but I didn't want to change that because the stain of the mustard was still there 3 months later when I came back. And so I had to keep it in.
Mustard stains everything.
Dude,
permanently,
it come
forever.
off the walls. Yeah, I mean, I eventually got it off. I think it's still kind of like the wall doesn't look as nice anymore. I still kind of see it. There's like a yellowish wall. I did not know that when I did that. You know, a couple of things I just didn't know at the time. There was a point where I made a joke where... Do you remember the joke where I spilled noodles on myself?
Yeah.
That wasn't supposed to hurt me. That was supposed to just be awkward. And then, like, while I was pouring it, I kind of forgot to let it cool down. And it hurt. And I had to get up. And, like, that was the take. That wasn't supposed to be painful.
That was like one of the funnier jokes in the episode. Was that Brawlhalla or...
That was...
Newgrounds fight.
Newgrounds Rumble. I only angled the joke like that because I looked at the camera, so I had to, like, make sure it was out of shot by the time I did that.
I like when you try to get the cat to play.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. He doesn't like to... He would have a habit where he'd be in the closet a lot with me. He doesn't do it anymore because I would yell in the closet and he got scared.
Yeah.
So if you see in the newer episodes, he's no longer in the closet with me.
I think that about wraps up the podcast. Thanks for being on the podcast. It's been fun talking to you.
Oh, anytime.
All right, the podcast is over.